Have you ever spent way too much time staring at your phone, rereading a single text message and trying to decode it like it's some ancient cryptic language? I mean, we've all been there, wondering, wait, do they actually like me or are they just being polite? Let's be real for a second. Words can be totally misleading. People might never actually say how they feel out loud, but their bodies, their subconscious behaviors, those almost always tell the truth. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we are dismantling the exhausting rules of modern dating and diving deep into the biological truth behind how deep attachment actually forms. We're going to break down the nonverbal signs, the subtle language of gestures, stolen glances, and even moments of silence to reveal the real science of emotional safety. So let's kick things off with a question that has baffled pretty much everyone at some point. Why do men suddenly commit? Why is it that a man can date someone for months or literally even years and never truly commit, only to meet someone else and become completely hooked, loyal, and emotionally invested in a matter of weeks? It feels so confusing, right? Unfair, and honestly, totally random. But I promise you, it is not random at all. There's a very specific switch that flips inside a man's brain, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what we usually assume. And this perfectly highlights the massive disconnect we're dealing with today. Look at society's dating myths versus biological reality. Society constantly tells us that to keep a man interested, you have to look absolutely flawless, be incredibly exciting, and constantly play hard to get. We think we have to put on a performance. But the biological reality? It's vastly different. A man's nervous system has been shaped over thousands of years to read your intentions, your mood, and your energy almost instantly. The reality is that genuine bonds are formed through nonverbal cues and emotional resonance, not through some curated lifestyle or extreme, exhausting effort. It all really boils down to this one core truth. A man doesn't fall in love when he feels impressed. He falls in love when he feels safe. Men do not fall in love because of how much you do for them or how much of a challenge you are. They fall in love based on the emotional state they experience when they're in your presence. When his nervous system actually relaxes around you, he stops seeing you as just someone he's dating and he starts seeing you as someone incredibly rare. Section 1. The performance trap and the need for emotional safety. To really understand why this feeling of safety is so rare, we have to talk about the hidden emotional burden that most men carry around with them every single day. Because once you get this, male behavior starts making a whole lot more sense. It all starts with what we call performance mode. From a very young age, guys are taught to treat life like a battlefield. They're expected to provide, protect, and hold everything together. Vulnerability, that's often punished or at best, just ignored. Because of this, men are constantly on guard, always alert, trying to win something or protect something. They walk through life wearing this incredibly heavy emotional armor, rarely showing their complicated inner world to anyone. So here is the crucial takeaway. Emotional safety is the equivalent of him finally taking off that heavy armor. When a man finds a rare space where he can just exist without proving himself, where he isn't being evaluated or tested or expected to perform, his nervous system registers an intense feeling of relief. He feels accepted for who he truly is. And you know what? The human brain becomes deeply attached to whatever gives it relief from stress. Let me give you a really practical example to paint the picture here. Imagine he comes home after a totally exhausting, stressful day. He's quiet, his mind is just heavy. Now, most people would push, right? They'd ask, "What's wrong? Talk to me." But instead of interrogating him, you just offer calm space. You say, "Hey, you don't have to explain anything right now. You don't have to pretend with me." That tiny, subtle moment of space sends a profoundly powerful signal. You instantly transform from just someone he is dating into his emotional refuge. Section 2. Inside the male brain, the biology of bonding. Okay, now that we've covered the psychology, let's look at the hard science to see the biological cascade that happens when he finally feels this safety. It's actually highly predictable. First off, his cortisol, that's the stress hormone, plummets. Simultaneously, his brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. We know from the science of attraction that oxytocin naturally makes you want to maintain eye contact and physically lean in to feel closer. Then we have dopamine, which chemically links this pleasure and relief directly to your presence, creating a literal craving to be around you. And finally, mirror neurons. Have you ever noticed that when you take a sip of your drink, your crush suddenly takes a sip of theirs? Or if you smile, they smile right back almost instantly? That's mirror neurons creating an emotional sync. This whole chemical combination literally imprints you as his source of peace. And this ties directly into the balance of energy. We live in a world that constantly tells women they must be in their masculine energy. Doing, achieving, competing. But stepping out of that competitive workplace energy and into pure feminine energy, which is all about being, receiving, and softening, is incredibly powerful. When a man feels that gentle, calm feminine presence, his own masculine drive to pursue and protect automatically wakes up. He naturally wants to step up for you because you've created the open space for him to do exactly that. Moving on to section 3, the 3-part magnetic gesture. So, how do we actually put all this into practice? How do you signal this profound emotional safety without saying a single word? Well, here are the 3 scientifically backed elements that you combine into one natural gesture. Step 1 is calm, intentional energy. Step 2 is warm, non-needy eye contact. And step 3 is relaxed, comfortable silence. When you combine these 3 things, they trigger an automatic attachment response in his nervous system. Let's break each of these down so you can see exactly how it works. Step 1, calm, intentional energy. Basically, this means slowing yourself down just enough. You aren't nervously feeling every single second. You show him through your physical presence that you are grounded and safe. Think about your body posture for a second. If someone is truly into you, they instinctively open up. Their arms fall away from their chest, their legs uncross. When you're hanging out and you slow down your internal pace and open your posture, you tell his nervous system that you are steady, not chaotic. That quiet, physical control feels incredibly safe to a man. Step 2 is all about eye contact. We all know the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? Science actually shows you unconsciously fixate on what you want. But the key here is how you look at him. You must look to share the moment, not to seek his approval. If you're intensely scanning his face for validation, he is going to feel that pressure. But if you maintain soft, relaxed eye contact, maybe letting your gaze drop occasionally naturally, his brain releases that oxytocin we talked about. It communicates, I'm here with you and I'm totally okay just being here. And that brings us to step 3, which is often the most difficult step for a lot of people. Silence, when handled with confidence, is magnetic. The second there's quiet, so many of us panic and rush to fill the void with nervous chatter. But think about the power of proximity. Someone who has a crush on you will find any excuse to just be near you, even if they don't have a single thing to say. They might just sit next to you, letting their shoulder brush yours, totally fine with the quiet. Embracing that relaxed, comfortable space creates a profound sense of intimacy without uttering a word. Section 4, authenticity over performance. Now, before you go out and try this, I have to give you a crucial warning. This gesture absolutely cannot be faked, and you cannot treat it as some manipulative dating strategy. If you approach this with a hidden agenda to simply win him over, his nervous system is going to detect the pressure. Men sense manipulation instantly. The moment you start nervously checking his face for a reaction or faking a calm vibe, the energy breaks and he will quietly pull back. You have to genuinely let go of controlling the outcome. You literally just have to be completely comfortable in your own skin, existing in the moment with him. So how do you make it real? You have to build a habit of presence in your everyday life. You can't just flip a switch and turn it on for a date. Start small. When you are standing in line for coffee, just stand there and breathe instead of immediately pulling out your phone. Try sitting in total silence for 5 minutes a day. And pay attention to how you make time for people. In a world where everyone is too busy, opening up your schedule and simply being present with a friend without planning what you'll say next is huge. The more you practice genuine presence in simple situations, the more natural it becomes when you're sitting across from a guy you are deeply attracted to. I absolutely love this quote as it beautifully summarizes everything we've talked about. A woman who is simply present is rare, and rare things are valuable. Embodying true authenticity is literally like a superpower. It naturally filters out all those emotionally unavailable men who can't handle real intimacy, while acting as a total magnet for emotionally mature men who are completely starved for a deep, lasting connection. When you offer a man peace instead of stress, he will move mountains to keep you in his life. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to really chew on. What are you afraid of losing if you stop pretending and start simply being? I challenge you to take a hard look at your own dating habits. Why do we feel this constant need to perform when the very thing that creates undeniable biological love is simply allowing ourselves and our partners to exist safely in the moment? Really think about that. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.